It's the usual it's the usual walk into work Friday morning. So nice to get home and wake up in my own bed to the sounds of the birds chirping away instead of a main road. I got home about 8:30 last night. When these shows are set up, you've normally got 3 days to set the whole thing up, but literally you have about 3 or 4 hours to take everything down. Our stand was fine, but can you imagine how long it took the big boys, those big stands, to be dismantled? And the problem is, when you're setting the show up, you have 3 days, and you have 3 days to do it, and there's not much traffic and there's not much commotion. But you can imagine every single exhibitor has to clear their stand and within 3 hours, and you can imagine the commotion outside. The van that was just coming to take all the tools back to the Sutton Tools showroom was stuck for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, literally in a queue, just to get the van outside the loading bay doors and to put everything onto the van. But as I was, what time did I leave? I must have left around about 6, and all the carpet was being ripped up. That carpet is literally just chucked on a skip, thrown away. It was complete and utter mayhem when I left. Right, get into work. Let's see what work awaits me. Ooh, post. I loves opening some post. Yeah, whatever. So yes, it has started snowing. Saturday morning, my day off, I'm just popping into the shop just to open up, do a couple of little odd jobs. Oh, you know what's going to happen now, don't you? We're going to find that everyone's going to be rushing to the supermarkets, buying, yeah, you got it, buying bread, buying milk. Oh, because the world's going to end. That reminds me, I must go shopping today. It's so hard to believe that it's been a week since the jewellery and watch show. Just time is just flying by so fast. So having worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I actually did have Saturday off, but I had to go and sort out my glasses. My glasses weren't right. I had the varifocals. Something wrong, something completely wrong with them. Couldn't even see out of them at a distance at the top of the lens, so went back and sorted that out. A bit of shopping, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and because of all that, it does mean that I am well behind on my filming. I've lost a whole week's worth of filming, so it's as usual Sunday morning. A little bit later today, 9:25, Sunday morning, and I'm around here for the whole morning now. I should have 3 or 4 hours to catch up on all the films that I need to get done for At the Bench. My voice is getting a lot better. It really did end up to be a bit of a cold in the end, but it's a lot better today. Not perfect, as you can hear,
but never mind. Anyway, I gotta get the coffee on, then I'm gonna go upstairs, get into the recording studio and crack out a whole load of films for At the Bench.
I had a phone call yesterday when I was in work from our local health authority, and they said that I actually hadn't been to their Wellman clinic, and it's for people, it's for men over a certain age, and I happen to be now over that certain age. And it's just to make sure they're going to do my blood pressure, they're going to weigh me, they're going to check my BMI, they're going to ask me questions about my lifestyle, and just see if I'm fit or I need to look at my cholesterol or anything like that. So this is going to be an interesting morning. I like to think of myself as pretty healthy, lead a healthy lifestyle. I go out running and I go out on my bike. I don't eat many bad foods, I eat quite a few good foods. I don't really get enough sleep. That's why I'm looking so tired. The results will show whether I'm fit for the knacker's yard or whether I've got a few more years left in me. We're soon going to find out. All worked out right. I'm not fit for the knacker's yard. Very low cholesterol, ideal weight, ideal BMI, which, to be honest, I do keep an active lifestyle. So I'm out on my bike, although not recently, but I do go out running. I make sure I do exercise, I make sure I get out of breath, blah blah blah. I eat healthily, apart from a few little snacks now and again. So, cool. I'm fit for another few years. Well, it didn't work last time, and I'm gonna give it another go today. What am I talking about? These links, the links that I was going to do for that long chain. I did the vulcanized mold for it. A few other waxes worked, as you can see, pretty good, all worked out. Now it's got a bit of flashing on that one, but the problem is it must have taken me half an hour just to get 2 decent waxes, and that's just no good. I can't work with just half an hour to get 2 sets. So I've reduced it this time down to 2 links that are joined instead of 3, and I'm going to try that now instead. I really should get some more bench space, just so I could keep all of this out, so I don't have to keep putting it on the floor every time. So I'm trying this again, trying this time not to be too cocky with what I am doing. I don't like that little bit of a gap I've got on the top. Let me just put a small bit of rubber in that. Okay. 6 pieces of rubber in a 19mm 3/4 inch frame. Stands proud, but the rubber has to go down in between. We leave this layer on that side and also on that side as well. It is so we get a nice clean surface and it doesn't stick to the plates. And let's pop that into our vulcanizer. The idea is we're not going to force the handle down too soon. I'm going to tighten it down a little bit at a time. I don't want those links to compress against each other. I just want a little bit of pressure. Make sure the rubber gets nice and molten inside. A little bit more pressure and so on. Then I'm going to leave it for 45 minutes. Fingers crossed. This one has worked. You can see where we leave the label on, it's nice and clean, and likewise on that side as well. Not much rubber, not much spare rubber on that one.
Right, we're going to wait for that to cool down, cut it out and see how well we can inject it. So I'm just out, flipping hot. So I'm just going to wait for that to cool down and then I'm going to cut it open and we're going to see how it works this time. Didn't work last time because I was trying to be cocky. I tried to have those 3 links all interlocking. It just really didn't work. I'm trying 2 links interlocking and 1 link open. Fingers crossed this time it's going to work. If it doesn't work again, well then I'll just have to have 4 links, 2 closed, 2 open, and just have to make them up as I made them up originally with the other necklace that we did just before Christmas. That was about, how heavy was that? That was about 60 grams. I think this is going to be about 160 grams. So it's a lot bigger, a lot heavier, a lot beefy chain. And for those who don't know what I'm on about, let me sit down and tell you a story. If you're wondering what I'm on about with this vulcanizing these molds, I had a client come in just after Christmas, a long time ago now, isn't it? And she brought in around about 160, 170 grams of gold and wants us to make a nice heavy curb chain. In the olden days, before we had our casting facilities, we used to make up the links by hand, melt it down, draw it into wire, turn the wire around a mandrel, cut them all, open them up, put them all together, solder them, fasten them in a vise and then twist them all. Okay, that's a traditional way of making a curved chain. But we were never happy with the twist. The twist was always a bit strange because when you hung the chain up from one end, the chain sort of twisted, and I've never liked that. But since we've got our casting facilities, we are able to cast the links individually, and that is what I have done in the past. But I wanted to see if I could cast the links already linked up together, which would save me having to solder every single link. Fingers crossed, with the 2 links joined, I've only got to have 1 open link then to join the sections of 2 closed links. And fingers crossed, when I cut the mold open, it'll work this time. But as I said, if it doesn't work, I'll just have to sprue the links individually, 2 closed links and then 2 open links. We're going to have to wait and find out again. Off to get my new glasses. Hopefully they will be a lot better this time than last time. Last time they were very focal, but the lenses were just not right. This time I'm trying bifocal. Caerphilly Castle, shrouded in mist this morning. Misty all day. Alright then, glasses. Okay, they're looking good. Bifocals this time because I wanted to be able to leave them on whilst I'm in work and talk normally through the glass, and then when I'm looking down, this down here then is in focus. This is what I used to do. I used to keep my glasses on and talk above the glasses, and I never ever liked that. I always felt that I was sort of talking, you know, telling somebody off, that sort of thing. I tried the varifocals. I've got the lenses. The optician very kindly let me keep the lenses. So, in theory, I could put them into here if need be. But I just couldn't get on with them. I found that I know you have to get used to varifocals, but I tried them for that week whilst I was up at the NEC, and I just kept doing this to try and get it all into focus, and then I just couldn't get on with them. So these now are bifocals, so these should be a lot better for me to try out. We'll have to see. Then if I'm happy with these, I can go back and get another pair, because I got 2 for 1 Specsavers. Cool.